Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Rock Squad podcast, your destination for the latest in rock music news, reviews, and discussion. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Nick Chino. I'm joined by my co-host and bandmate, it's Dave Marini. What's up, Dave?
Hey, Nick, how's it going? Hello, everybody. Before we get started today, make sure you drop down to the bottom of this video. You hit subscribe to our channel. You like the video. You leave a comment. We love hearing from you. You and our community makes our community stronger. Nick, my friend, how are you?
I'm doing all right, man. Did you get a fresh cut? What happened to your locks?
No, I'm just tied up.
Oh, you're tied up. I thought you looked like you got a haircut.
No, and my hair's even crazier than usual. I got like some pirate hair going on right now. It's like half regular hair, half dreadlocks. It's just it's a mess right now. I'm bored in the quarantines and the lockdowns, and I don't see anybody. So I'm just like, I'm letting it go all Johnny Depp.
Yeah, you got to hang in the back there. A little man bun action going on.
Yeah, it's all there. It's super long.
Nice. Keep it going, man.
Very rock and roll.
I gave in and cut my hair, so you have to keep the flame alive.
That's it. I was talking to Victoria about how long I could get it. My wife, how long I could get it, and she didn't seem interested in how long I could get it at all. She was like, "Or you can cut it, or you can cut it." So we'll see how long. We'll see how long. Hey, man, if it goes. It'd be nice to have some. I got a wedding in October, so we'll see how I look in October. I might change it up. It's been a while. I've had long hair for like almost 2 years, so like it might be nice to, freshen it up and not get hair in my mouth when I'm singing songs. So
it does feel liberating, man. I'm not gonna lie. When I got my hair cut a couple months ago, it was like, as much as I loved having long hair, it was like a huge. It was a huge. Like I was like liberated. When I cut my hair, it felt really good. No hair in the mouth.
Release that energy, Oh, the hair in the mouth's the worst.
That's the worst part, for sure. Well, we'll see how long it takes you to sell out on us and cut that hair.
All right, it always grows back, man, at rapid speed.
For sure, it always comes back. Well, before we get to our opening act topics and our headline topics for this week, we got a couple of sound check off the top topics we want to talk about. If you go to the Rock Squad channel right now, you can check out my rock albums ranked video for the Manic Street Preachers. Their new record comes out. It's their 14th studio record. It's called The Ultra Vivid Lament. It comes out this Friday. So I did a ranking of all 13 of their current studio records from 13 to 1. So if you want to check out my rankings, you can do that right now on the Rock Squad channel. Some big releases this week too, Dave. Coming out this week, Metallica, the 30th anniversary of the Black album is out this week, as well as the Blacklist, which is their 53 song compilation that features all sorts of different artists doing Metallica covers, including Biffy Clyro, Royal Blood, Weezer's on there. The new Mannix is out this Friday. The new Andrew WK album is out this Friday.
Cool.
God is Partying. Yeah.
God is Partying. Is that what it's called?
God is Partying. Like, which any of these excite you, or?
Yeah, for sure. Like the Manic Street Preacher one's cool. Andrew WK. Andrew WK is one of those weird sleeper bands or group or artists for me where I wouldn't expect that I would like his records. And then I always end up liking a few songs off of whatever he puts out. So yeah, they're all really cool, man. Like it's interesting to see who's putting out music right now. Like some people that have been a little bit quiet for a little bit. And it's awesome. Like I'm down for all of them.
Yeah, for sure. I still love Party Hard and She Is Beautiful and a lot of those early Andrew WK tracks, which are hard to believe. Those songs are like 20 years old, but they still sound awesome. The production on those songs is killer.
Yeah, man, they didn't skimp on those records at all. Like they knew what they were doing when they were putting those out.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you know what? Well, there is a record coming out that is being delayed, a record that we were really looking forward to, which is the new Don Broco album, Amazing Things. The band announced today that they're delaying the album a whole month. It was due to come out next Friday, September the 17th, but due to some vinyl delays, they're delaying the record until October 22nd. Which is actually the same day as the new Biffy album is coming out, which we'll be talking about in a little bit. So as kind of disappointed as I am that they've delayed the record, getting a new Don Broco record and a new Biffy record on the same day, Dave, that's going to be pretty awesome.
That's a rocking day. That's for sure. I'm super. You sent me a message earlier about that, and I was like, "Oh, really? Oh, that's too bad." And then I was like, "Oh, wait a minute. That's fantastic. That's like doubling up. I'll take it. I'll take new music from those two bands any way I can get it."
I know, for sure. Me too. Well, here's the question though. Out of the two records, which one are you going to listen to first?
Ooh, that honestly, I'm probably going to listen to the Don Broco first.
Yeah.
because I've been more invested in the pre-release of that one,
Yeah.
and I'm interested to hear what isn't being included in singles.
Mm-hmm.
And from the last Biffy, I did love the last Biffy record, but I love the last Biffy record for different reasons than what I like the Don Broco for. I feel like Biffy's really coming into their own songwriting and like stuff like that, and I feel like Don Broco is like experimenting more. So it's like I have like these two, like, oh, Biffy's living up to all their potential, and Don Broco's pushing the element or the limits to see what they can get away with, and
Totally.
both excite me. So like I think the last Biffy record had some of the best ballads that they've ever written, I think. So if there's a progression in that, or maybe they go back to more riff rocky stuff, I don't know. Either way, I'm a very happy camper, as I'm sure you are, that we'll have two new records to stop and play nonstop for the next couple months.
I know for sure gonna be the soundtrack of our lives. And we watched the Don Broco live stream last week, the Ultrasonic live stream. We watched it here at my place. That was pretty awesome too. So that got me even more pumped for the new record.
Oh yeah, oh for sure. That the live thing was amazing. We were watching it during a meeting that we were having about our band.
Yeah.
It's awesome, man. Seeing those guys do anything, they're such good players, such good writers. Their new music is so fucking heavy, and it's so good, and it's such a step in the right direction from the more poppy, rocky, with elements of hard rock thrown in. Now it's like, this is pits and circles and walls of death. Like they're really stepping it up in that regard. So
yeah,
super excited. I'm super excited.
Yeah, for sure. Well, before we get to the opening act topics, we should also mention a big release coming out, which is our band, Fools Union. We just announced that our new single, our first single in over a year, is called Maniacs. We're putting it out on every streaming service on October the 1st, and we're pretty excited about it. It's a song that Dave and I co-wrote together. It's got a little bit of a country kind of feel to it, I want to say, for a little bit of it. It's a very punchy kind of rock song. It kind of has a little bit of a country-esque stomp for a little bit, and then it breaks out into a lot of riffs and a lot of jamming going on. So we're pretty stoked about it. It was mixed by Gavin Brown, who's produced bands like Billy Talent and The Truths and 3 Days Grace and Mother Mother. So we were very honored that he mixed our new track called Maniacs, and we're just stoked that it's finally coming out. We started recording these songs 2 years ago, Dave, in September 2019. COVID obviously got a little bit in the way of us putting stuff out in the last year or so. So it's been a long time coming, and we're super pumped for people to hear Maniacs.
Oh yeah, man, I'm super excited. This song has been a long time coming for us, and it's the first one where Gavin's mixing it, and just to have somebody like that kind of behind us and helping us make things that we're doing even better. I know me and you talk about it all the time, how excited we are that that's finally happening. We've been making music for a long time, and we've worked with a lot of different producers and a lot of different engineers. And you work with enough people, you realize the value that they bring to the table when you need it. And we definitely are very grateful that we had somebody at that level that stepped in and was like, oh no, I can make this sound. I know what you guys are going for. And that's awesome. So yeah, we're super excited. Maniacs, it drops October 1st, 2021. There's a cool lyric video coming out shortly. Tons of fun things, and then hopefully shows in the new year if the COVID slows down. So we're busy in the band world. It's just not getting out and playing is killing us all, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. I would love to go out and play a show. It's been 2 years since we played a show. We played the What the Fest festival in Brantford 2 years ago. That was the last show we played, and that's after 20 years of consistently gigging. Pretty much, I think I have a database of all the shows that at least that we've played together. Obviously, you've played lots of shows with other bands as well, but between us, there's at least 500 shows on the list. So that's it's not a bad little record of like 20 years of playing music.
Man, we've played 500 shows in like 5 different countries, and we've traveled the globe. And it's funny because like if it was 20 years ago, and you were to say, oh, you guys are going to get to do all these cool things over the years, it would be very exciting. And I don't know if it would actually, like, you would get the full experience if it was 20 years ago thinking about it. Like if my old self, if I could go back, I would definitely tell old or younger Dave, to keep doing what he's doing. But I don't think I would ever get how music would be in 2021.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, we waited our whole life to be able to, like, when we started out playing music, the deal was we wanted to be able to make music.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a million streams on Spotify. It wasn't any of that. It was, let's be able to just create and capture it and then release it for people. So it takes so long to get to that point. When we started, now obviously 20 years later, everything's a lot more fluid, and we can make records in our house and in our garages, all that stuff. But we're super excited now that, you know, all the production that we've put into and learning and growing over the years has come together with these next batch of songs, and we have hotter songs that are going to come out, you know, down the line that we're super excited for. So for our band, for Fools Union, I think things are on the up and up, and I can't wait to start playing shows.
Yeah, me too, man. And our new single, Maniacs, comes out on October 1st, so make sure you check that out. But let's talk some rock music news. Let's get to our opening act topics on this week's Rock Squad podcast, some of the hot topics happening right now in the world of rock music news. And the first one is the Nirvana baby is suing the band, or the remaining members of the band, and some of their music industry friends as well. Spencer Eldon, a now grown man who is featured on the iconic cover for Nevermind with his baby wee wee hanging out, is now suing everyone involved in the album for alleged child pornography or child exploitation or something like that. It's kind of weird, saying he never gave permission. It was exploited by being photographed for the cover 30 years ago. So he's kind of 30 years late on this one. And the legal experts are calling the case frivolous, which is something I absolutely agree with, because Dave, this thing is absolutely ridiculous. First of all, this guy a couple of years ago, I think he's done it twice already. He did anniversary photo shoots commemorating the Nevermind album cover. So he did it again a couple of times, probably for some sort of amounts of money. And now looks like he's looking for more money, or at least he hasn't been able to milk the situation enough to make enough cash to satisfy himself. So I guess he's looking to take legal action for something so ridiculous. And I don't really think he has a leg to stand on legally. Neither of us are lawyers. I really don't know the intricacies of this whole situation. But from my own perspective as a music fan, this is absolutely ridiculous that this guy would come out 30 years later saying, hey guys, you exploited me and now I want money for this album cover. He wants them to change the Nevermind album cover from what it was to something different. I don't see how that's going to happen, because it's already one of the most iconic album covers of all time. So what's your read on this situation, Dave?
Well, my personal feelings about the situation are, fuck this guy that wants to capitalize on this bullshit. The guy has been very pro being the guy from the Nevermind album his entire life. He's capitalized. He does fan fests. He does Comic Cons. He sells pictures with the picture for $60. The guy's been making a living off of this one thing that he had no control over when he was a child. You know, his parents allowed him to take part in a photograph, a piece of art. To me, if it's in the vein of being art and it's not gratuitous and it's not in any way harming the child, other than the fact that he's floating in water, I don't know how that goes in, but if it's simply for art, we're going to start, you know, censoring art. Like, some of the greatest art of all time is naked ladies, and you know what I mean? Like, it just seems ridiculous. Also, another point about this whole thing is there are side notes from Nirvana and the record label, where Nirvana, I've seen them, I've seen some things pop up where there's like a picture of the album cover, and there's side notes to the label. And one of the side notes is, naked or not, leave it up to you. You know what I mean? Like, in the thing, like, where the band's happy either way. Like, you can blur out the dick or leave the dick in or take it out altogether. So in that sense, I think this guy should go jump off a bridge. I don't care.
Well, maybe not that, not that severe, but
like, but like the legal thing, like, if he is going to get any money, it's not going to be from the band. It's going to be from the label that paid the photographer to take the pictures and to do all that. So, like, Interscope is probably on the hook for something. If anything comes out of it, it's going to be an Interscope thing. It's not going to be the members or anything like that. Especially having documented that the band was like, yeah, we're cool with it, but if there's any issues, we can get rid of the PP. So, you know, so now what's going to happen is they're going to start pressing them with no dick So now the guy is going to be known as the baby with no dick from the Nevermind
Right.
thing. I don't know, man. I would just shut my mouth and take pictures at FanFest and be happy that you're part of rock history.
Yeah, well, maybe he got hit by the pandemic and he couldn't go out there and do those things as much as he did in the past. So he's looking for other ways to make money. Yeah, it's so disingenuous and it's so transparent that what he's trying to do is just is try to get a payout from this whole legal situation. And it's just ridiculous that he's 30 years later that he's coming out and saying, hey guys, like, well, no, I don't like the album cover, even though it's been my whole identity, my whole life. I just I don't want to be associated with it anymore. And yeah, he didn't have any control of it when the original album cover was taken, and maybe he should take it up with his parents instead of the remaining members of Nirvana.
Yeah, I take it back. I don't want him to jump off a bridge. I want him to look in the mirror, and I want him to like really look at himself.
Yeah, you want him to go through some sort of self-actualization.
Absolutely. I don't think death or suicide is the answer, but I think he should definitely do some reflecting on, how important his role was in the creation of probably one of the greatest rock records of all time. So like, I think you should shut the fuck up, move on with your life, do the Comic-Cons. Nobody's buying this thing you're trying to sell.
Yeah.
So yeah. Get out of here, man. Stop wasting people's time.
What I can understand is his reasoning when you're on the cover of an album that still continues to sell millions of copies. Like it's still one of the biggest selling cassettes of all time. Never mind, like when you think about cassettes, there's not a lot of them that are continued to be manufactured on a large scale, but Nirvana's Nevermind is still one of the biggest selling cassettes ever. And then you think about the resurgence in vinyl sales, and you think about the deluxe editions and the different versions of Nevermind that have been released over the years. And this guy has seen zero of that, right? So I can understand his frustration, but at the same time, it's like anything else, kind of like in that situation where it's a photograph. The photographer is hired for their work. They're hired they're paid out for the work that they did on the day. There might be some sort of residual involved, but for the most part, it's a work for hire thing. You're a work for hire baby, and your parents, they hired you out for a photo shoot when you were a little kid. They took a really small payout at the time because they didn't think that this grunge band from Seattle would become as famous or as popular as they did. And unfortunately that's how it turned out, and unfortunately it's too late to do anything about it now. Sorry, dude.
That's it, bro. Sorry, move on.
That's reality. All right, let's get to our next opening act topic on this week's Rock Squad podcast, and that is the Beatles have announced their Let It Be reissue in anticipation of Peter Jackson's upcoming Disney Plus documentary Get Back. The Fab Four, or the organization known as the Fab Four. It's not like the four of them are like, hey, we got a reissue coming out. I'm sure Paul and Ringo said something. They've announced an anniversary edition of the Let It Be album. The original LP is going to be remixed by Giles Martin, the son of their producer, Sir George Martin. And that's going to include 27 unreleased session recordings, going to feature a never before released 14-track Get Back stereo mix, which was an earlier version of the Let It Be record. The set's going to be released in various different formats: CD, LP, super deluxe format. It's going to come out on October the 15th. Are you excited for this, Dave? Like, you're a pretty big Beatles fan. I wouldn't say you're as big a Beatles fan as I am, but
absolutely not. But no, I'm totally down. I'm down with, like, I'm super stoked for the movie, and like, I think anytime you get these kind of re-releases where they're touching up things and using technology of today to make things sound better and translate better onto better systems and stuff, it's good for everybody. If you're a music fan and you like listening to your music loud and on big stereos or in your headphones, it's always nice to have a reissue of classic records. And I think it's awesome to have Martin's son doing it. I think they're being tasteful in it. I'm sure Paul and Ringo probably know nothing about the re-release, but it's it is what it is. And
signed it in the logo.
Yeah, and I think I was definitely expecting something that would go hand in hand with the documentary and the extra footage and the extra music. If you're a Beatles fan, who's not going to like it, really?
Yeah, no, for sure. And I'm already going to buy this thing because I picked up all their other anniversary reissues that they did for Sgt. Pepper's and Abbey Road and the White Album, which was one of my favorite reissues. The real cool thing about these reissues are the stereo mixes that Giles Martin does. They are a little bit of a revelation. I was actually listening to some of the Sgt. Pepper stereo mixes because obviously when you listen to the original versions, they're mixed. It was mixed in the 60s. So things are very panned. So when you're listening to things in the headphones, they've got the drums and the vocal and bass bass over here, and everything's very, very separate. But these stereo mixes do a really great job of melding things together and making them sound better for a more modern audience. And that's really what these reissues do, is allow new people to listen to it. The songs need to sonically stand up to other things that you're streaming on Spotify or anything like that, right? You need them to stand out, and you need them to be up to modern sonic standards when it comes to the actual listening of these albums. And the bonus features, like the unreleased tracks, I collect them because I like to have everything Beatles, even if it is just a different version of a song or a demo version or something like that. But there's nothing really new to get out of these things. The one thing that I really enjoyed from the White Album reissue was they released the Escher demos, which was the first time they ever released these demos that Paul, George, and John did at Kinfound's, which was George's house in 1968, which was like all the White Album songs before the album actually came out. So they're like all acoustic, kind of like sometimes like how we do demos, right? We'll do like acoustic demos of us just sitting around with acoustic guitars, just hashing out what the song sounds like. So that was really cool. And there was some cool stuff on the Abbey Road reissue, but otherwise there's not really a lot new. But as a Beatles fan, even though I have, I think probably 3 or 4 copies of Let It Be already, I gotta have this new version too.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And I think we're going to be overwhelmed with visuals and stuff from the documentary that's coming out. So, it is what it is going to be a great listen because it's in stereo. But also it's great that, the doc's going to come out. And we're probably going to see a lot of how the sausage is made kind of situations with the Beatles, which you get a little bit of through the years, but like not like it's going to be after this documentary. So very excited to see what that turns into.
Yeah, because excuse me, because obviously the whole thing behind Let It Be and Get Back was that was the sessions where the Beatles essentially were breaking up, and they broke up on camera. They came back and they finished Let It Be. They did Abbey Road after that too. Yeah. But it's notorious for being the time when they were falling apart and that they were miserable. So the hope is that the Get Back documentary presents them in a different light that maybe shows the sessions as being a little bit lighter and more enjoyable than we've seen in the past, and like in the original Let It Be documentary. So we'll see about that. And when it comes to the Let It Be album itself, it's not my favorite Beatles album, but it's still got some really, really great tracks on it. Obviously the title track, it's got Get Back, The Long and Winding Road, Across the Universe, Two of Us. There's so many great songs on that record.
It's okay.
It's still pretty good. Like, it's not, again, it's not Abbey Road, it's not the White Album, it's not Sgt. Pepper's, it's not Revolver, it's not Rubber Soul. It's not A Hard Day's Night. But I agree. It's somewhere in the middle to the bottom of my Beatles rankings.
Sure, I agree. 100%. 100%.
Yeah, but we're looking forward to the new Beatles Let It Be reissue. I'll definitely be picking that up. So it comes out on October the 15th, and then the Get Back documentary airs on Disney Plus in November around Thanksgiving weekend in the US. Cool. So let's get to we got 2 more opening app topics on this week's Rock Squad podcast. The next one is that Biffy Clyro, have announced a new album, The Myth of the Happily Ever After. Scotland's favorite sons, one of our favorite bands, I would probably say the best rock band on the planet right now.
On the Biff
have announced a new reaction album to their 2020 opus, which was a celebration of endings, which was a great record. And this one is going to be called The Myth of the Happily Ever After. It's going to feature 11 new Biffy tracks, including the new single, which was called Unknown Male 1, which is 6 minutes long, 6.5 minutes long. It's a little bit of a grower for me. It's a little bit of an opus for Biffy. Did you hear this new single, Dave? Are you excited for this new record?
Yeah, it's I feel like the single's kind of like 2 different songs, to be honest with you. I feel like it could have been like a track 1, track 2 kind of situation where it's the start of the song and the end of the song are kind of in different veins. But I love it, man. I think they're really coming into their own. They know what they do so well right now. The songwriting is so strong. So I'm super excited to hear like the other songs and the other singles that they've decided to put out for this. And 11 songs, man. And like they just keep putting out music. So very, very excited. I think it should be great.
Yeah, the 3rd year in a row that we're getting a new Biffy record. We had Balance and Not Symmetry in 2019. We had a Celebration of Endings last year. We got this new record coming out in October, same day as the new Don Broco record. Amazing thing. So that's going to be a great day for rock and roll. But yeah, you know, we both hold Biffy in the highest esteem. We've seen them a bunch of times live in Toronto, which has always been incredible. We love all their tunes. And the thing about it, I find it's just when a band continues to release music on a regular basis, I just find it so enjoyable. I'm like, just give me more songs, and I know I'm gonna love it. The new single, like I said, it's a little bit of a grower. I didn't love it right away, but it's Biffy, so I love it when it gets heavy in the middle, and it's still a really solid track. So I'm really looking forward to listening to this new record. And they've done companion albums before, because for Only Revolutions they had the companion album, which was Lonely Revolutions, which had all the B-sides. That was like another 16 or 17 tracks on top of the record. When they did Opposites, that was a double record, so they already had that. And then they did Similarities on top of that, so that was another 15, 16 tracks. Then we had Balance Not Symmetry, we had Ellipsis, we had A Celebration of Endings. Now we have this new record, The Myth of the Happily Ever After, and it's just an embarrassment of riches. As a music fan, as a rock fan, a lot of my favorite bands are putting out records this fall. We have Don Broco, Third Eye Blind's putting out a new record, Manic Street Preachers, Biffy Clyro. I'm in my glory, man. All my favorite bands are putting out new shit.
You're humming, eh? Everything's coming up next.
Everything's coming up next. It's perfect. And yeah, the new Biffy is going to be incredible. I have no doubt about that. Like that's the thing. It's, even though it was the same thing on A Celebration of Endings, they put out that first single, which was Instant History, which was a cool track, but it was very different for them. And a lot of people were panicking, saying, look, oh, Biffy's gone pop, or they've lost their edge. And that was by no means true when you heard the full record. So you know that when you put it out, that it's going to be solid.
Yeah, man, the last record was awesome. And I agree. Yeah, the first single was like an odd choice, I thought, for them, especially since the album before it was Wolves of Winter, which was like more in line with what they were doing at the time. But yeah, the last record was great. We've talked about how they have some of the best ballads that the band's ever written, and some of the best pop rock songs they've ever written as well. So I'm super excited to hear like what comes out of this. And you know, I'm fearful a little bit too, because we've been getting so much music that generally hiatuses come after this much music.
Yeah.
So it might be, you know, maybe we won't see something for a while. Maybe touring's on the agenda for the next
probably
3 to 4 years. So who knows? We might not see something for maybe 5 years from now. So I'll take it while we're in the pandemic situation. I'll take all the great music we can get.
Yeah, totally, right on. So we're looking forward to the new Biffy Clyro record. We knew that they were working on something. We didn't know it'd be coming so quickly. So the new record, The Myth of the Happily Ever After, comes out on October the 22nd, same day as Don Broco, Amazing Things. It's going to be awesome. So we're looking forward to that. We got one more opening act topic, and that is Stereophonics have announced their new album. It's called Oochya, I think that's how you pronounce it. Welsh rockers have announced their new album is going to be released on March 4th. 2022. I think that's very strange. I'll say why in a minute, but they released a new single called Hanging on Your Hinges. And the singer of the band, Kelly Jones, says the band is returning to its pop rock roots after several albums of more contemplative, I would say kind of downer material on their last couple of records. And you know what, Dave, I'm a huge Stereophonics fan. I've followed them throughout their whole career, so I've always really enjoyed what they've done. But the last couple of records have really lacked in energy for me, and I've hoped that they've gone back to some rock and roll vibes. And this new single definitely brings that. So hopefully the whole record's going to be like that. But this just rings so strange to me because, again, we're living in the period now. We just said Biffy Clyro. Right? They just announced their new album last week. It's coming out in October. That's a month away, right? So most bands nowadays, it's not like it used to be where you would announce an album like 8 months in advance and then it would come out. Like people, the release schedules are much, much quicker nowadays. So for Stereophonics to announce that their new album is coming out in 7 months, seems kind of strange to me. Maybe they're still working on it, but that seems very 90s or early 2000s to me, where you're going to have a 7-month lead up to a new album when other bands and other artists are literally releasing things on a dime. It just seems so strange to me, as much as I love the band.
Yeah, like you could have 3 releases by that time. Like, what are you talking about?
And they'll put on more singles for sure, but you know.
Yeah, no, I love Stereophonics. I've been a fan like since the Dakota era, and have a nice day and songs like I love the pop songs that they write. Kelly's got an amazing voice. They're great. They've been a great band. They've had their ups and their downs and their tragedies. I do agree that the last 2 or 3 records have been pretty sleepery for me. Like I need, like, I'm an upbeat person. I can't sit through 10, 11, 12 songs of drone and sadness and sorrow.
Yeah.
I need the counter. I can't go through full records like that. So I haven't really been keeping up as much as I should, just because it just, I haven't been clicking. But that being said, if he's saying that it's going back to their more pop rocky kind of, pop band thing, I'm 100% behind it. I think that's what they do best. I think his voice is one of the best voices in rock and roll. And yeah, I'm super excited, man. Like I said, like the Dakota era for me is the time that I got into that band. And
Mm-hmm.
they've had a slew of drummers, tragically lost their drummer. I remember being at a festival with you probably where their drummer was MIA, and they had to. Were you at that show?
I don't think so, but I remember you guys telling me about it. Yeah.
Yeah, we went to a show, and the drummer, he obviously had his demons, and just couldn't make it to the show. So we ended up having an acoustic show from the Stereophonics, which was cool in its own right. But they've definitely had their trials and tribulations within that group. And if they've figured out some stuff and they're writing more, upbeat rock and roll songs, then I'm 100% behind it. I think it's the best move they could have made.
Yeah, I agree that yeah, they've had a lot of drummer changes, they've had a lot of member changes, and things have kind of evened out for them in the last couple of years, which is great. But for me, they're very front loaded in their discography, because to me, Dakota from Language, Sex, Violence, Other was the name of the record. That was probably one of the last Stereophonics records that I really, really loved. And I was into them right from when they came out in the late 90s, because they were very Oasis in their style. So I was a huge Oasis fan, obviously. And they reminded me of that. So that first record, word gets around with songs like 1,000 Trees and Traffic, and then Performance and Cocktails and Jeep. And then they put out a record in 2003 called You Gotta Go There to Come Back, which is, let me see. I got it here. Let me pull it up. I got it signed by the band too when we were at the Edge. Stereophonics. This was
great album
for me. This album was like the best. And it's just like, not that, I'm always the guy who's like, I'm a proponent of bands going on their journeys, right? Like some bands you are kind of with them the whole way, and then some bands you're not, and you fall off the wagon a little bit from album to album. And with Stereophonics, I'm getting to the point with them that I'm starting to fall off the wagon a little bit, because they put out so many records that are good, but just not really what I'm looking for, and doesn't really have the magic. And that's okay, because they can do what they want. They go in their artistic direction. Sometimes you're with them, sometimes you're not. But I just wish I was with them a little bit more. So hopefully this record keeps me interested a little bit more.
Yeah, they're such strong songwriters. It's like I'm a little disappointed that the last couple of records haven't met that threshold that I'm looking for from rock bands, because I respect them so much, and they're such good songwriters, and his voice is unbelievable. Like, it's unmatched. He's the Rod Stewart.
Oh, he's so good. Yeah, Kelly Jones.
So it's like, yeah, I'm really hoping that everything turns around, and there's some tangible radio hits, and that's the stuff I like. I like really solid singles and great melodies. So yeah, fingers crossed, man. We don't know. We'll see what happens.
We'll find out in 7 months, which is still so bizarre to me that they would announce an album that far out. It just seems so. It doesn't seem very modern at all. So I guess we'll be talking about the record in March. Okay, so we'll talk
Hold
then.
on to your hat.
Yeah, we'll meet you back here. We'll talk about it then. All right, let's get to our headliner topic on this week's Rock Squad podcast, and that is 60 days that changed rock. Dave, I was browsing on iTunes the other day when I came across this section called 60 Days That Changed Rock. So in the year 1991, Dave, which was 30 years ago, hard to believe, in the span of 60 days, there were several huge rock albums that changed rock music forever, okay? So you had August 12th, you had the Black Album by Metallica. August 27th, you had Pearl Jam, 10. September 17th, you had Guns N' Roses, Use Your Illusion 1 and 2. September 24th, you had Nirvana, Nevermind, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood Sugar Sex Magic, and Soundgarden's Bad Motorfinger, all on the same day. Okay, so it's kind of unbelievable the impact that all those records had. Like, it really was the dawn of a new era in the 90s where all these classic albums were coming out. And I will remember, because as you know, I have an older sister, and when those albums were coming out, she was a little bit older, so she had all those albums on CD. And I remember she had a CD player, and I would sneak into her room to like put on Pearl Jam and listen to 10 or listen to the Black Album or something, right? So it's just so incredible that within this 60-day period, it's almost like it was meant to be, that it was fate, that all these albums came out and really defined alt rock music for the 90s, but really continue to define alt rock music today. 30 years later, all those albums, Metallica putting out a Black Album reissue this Friday, 30 years later, those albums are still like the pinnacle of rock music.
Yeah, man, like the influence from those 8 weeks of release has gone on for 30 years. 30, like is there anybody in that group that isn't in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? No. Is there anybody in that group that hasn't sold, over 50 million records? Is there any, like, it really set the tone and the threshold of what was to come for the 90s. And then well into the 2000s, and even now with the reissues of things, like, who knew? Who would have known, like on the third month, like, wow, what just came out over the last 2 months is gonna shape everything. Rock radio, TV and movies.
All those albums still everything. On rock radio daily.
Everything. It changed everything. It was the soundtrack for Gen X. It's everything. Those 60 days, those records, without them, we probably wouldn't be having this podcast.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, it's that influential, and there's that many high profile artists that, we wouldn't be here, man. I know I wouldn't be here. Like, without those records, without those bands, like, and without a lot of those bands' first records, there wouldn't be second records. So, you know what I mean? Like, without Bad Motorfinger, there wouldn't be Super Unknown, and there wouldn't be, you know what I mean? There's just so many things that, it's amazing. Like, that's crazy. There should be like a movie made about all that shit and everything, like.
Well, like the Smashing Pumpkins Gish came out in 1991 too, not within the same period as that, but like another great record. I would think maybe if there was any other period in rock that would be comparable to that, would maybe be the late 60s, like 68 and 69, where you had the Beatles putting out the White Album, and you had the band putting out Big Pink, and you had Bob Dylan putting out, and the Stones putting out Let It Bleed and all those records. I would say that's like comparable to being like a time when rock really started to take shape, or maybe some early 70s stuff when you had, Pink Floyd and Zeppelin and Sabbath all firing on all cylinders. That might be a comparable time. But otherwise, it's a crazy time. Like you're saying, like 30 years later, it's still on rock radio. They're still in movies. There's still, like, you can't turn on rock radio without hearing Enter Sandman or Smells Like Teen Spirit or Jeremy or Alive or something, right? It's absolutely incredible that these 60 days, that in this period, that so much creativity was unleashed upon the world, and is still reverberating to this very day. So I just find that really exciting. And I found it cool that they were doing something on iTunes to commemorate all that, because I didn't even realize that. And I've seen it in some other places as well. People have been mentioning the anniversaries, and that 60-day period was such a huge revolutionary time in rock. But it's just it's something cool. I just thought it'd be worth mentioning on the show. Still listening to those records all the time. Here's the question though. Out of those records, the ones that we mentioned, which one is your favorite? Which one is really the one that you connect with the most?
Mine's got to be 10 by Pearl Jam.
I was going to say the same.
10 by Pearl Jam, and then Blood Sugar Sex Magic would probably be the second.
Yeah.
And then Nirvana, Nevermind.
Yeah.
Probably.
I was pretty big on the Use Your Illusion albums too. Soundgarden, Bad Motorfinger, I wasn't into as much as Super Unknown. Right.
Yeah. Super Unknown to me is one of the best riff rock records ever made.
Oh, it's so good.
Like, it's on another level. Like, everything about that record, if you're a guitar player and you're into like hard rock, that record is, it's a masterpiece. So it definitely wouldn't have been Bad Motorfinger for me yet, like, even though I love that record now, but definitely if it's 1991 and I'm jumping around my bedroom, it's definitely I had a special release. I think it was like the European release of 10. And the only extra thing on it was a version of Dirty Frank.
Yeah, I think my sister had that version too, the European version of the album.
Yeah. So it had like I think it had a live, and then it had Dirty Frank on there too, which is a cool, funky. It actually sounds like Pearl Jam trying to be the Red Hot Chili Peppers, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
But so I'm definitely jumping around in my bedroom to Alive and Jeremy and all that stuff. So like, 100%. That's my go-to in those 60 days.
Yeah, for sure. When I was a kid, it might have like not been 91. It probably was like 92, 93. But I had like a little like cheap Casio keyboard, and I had some neighbor kids who lived across the street, and we would play together. And they would come over and we'd sit on my porch and we would do an air band to Jeremy. Right. I'd be like, Jeremy, so as you can see, Dave, I was always destined to play in a band because I was recruiting my neighbors to like come over and do air bands to Jeremy all the time with me.
I have a similar Casio keyboard when I was younger, probably around that time. I had a Casio, and a buddy from across the street would come over, and we would, because you could record songs on the Casio, like whatever you would play. Yeah. And I remember doing like a playback and like trying to write lyrics, and like my mom coming in the door like, "Oh, it sounds good, boys," you know. Yeah. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it was destiny, Dave. That was what set you on your path to musical greatness all these years later.
One broken Casio at a time.
Yeah, we're still breaking Casios to this day.
Yeah, man. Fuck Casios.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, 60 days that changed rock and roll. So it's pretty cool. Lots of classic albums. So let us know what you thought of the topics that we talked about on this week's Rock Squad podcast. Let us know what your favorite album is out of the ones that were released during this revolutionary time in rock and roll back in 1991. But that is it for the Rock Squad podcast. Before we go, we're going to do our tracks of the week. Dave, my choices for this week is a singer from Toronto named Sate, who I used to play on the indie show when I was working on Y108. Cool. She has a brand new song out called Howler. If you love awesome, just sweaty, gritty rock and roll, she has great songs. The song's called Howler. You can check that out everywhere right now. Also going to pick the new Don Broco song, Uber, which came out last week. Pretty fucking heavy song. I've been blowing my ears out to it in my car all week long. The thing about Don Broco, like Don Broco is my rage band. You know what I mean? When I'm like in a really pissed off mood and I just want to fucking rock like nothing else, I put on Don Broco.
When you want a body slam, you
I like a body slam. You know what I mean? When you're like, they're my rage band. I love them so much. Anyways, those are my tracks of the week.
Awesome. Yeah, my tracks of the week are, I'm staying Canadian for one. I've been listening to a lot of one of my favorite Canadian bands, Danko Jones. I'm going to suggest Lover Call by Danko Jones. I love that song. I love that record. I love Born a Lion. I think it's one of their best records.
Yeah.
Just, the production on that record, the bass tone at the beginning of that song. The song fucking rips. They rip. Yeah. They have a great new record out right now.
Yeah, there's a rock album review up on the channel.
Power Trio, is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's really good. It's Danko, of course. It's going to be good.
Danko. It rocks. So, that's definitely one. And then the other day I was driving to work. It was beautiful. I had the windows down and the summer vibes. And the song Inside Out by Eve 6 came on. And I haven't heard that song in forever. And I like Eve 6. They're one of those bands that you wouldn't expect me to like that I really liked. And that first record with Inside Out and Leech and all that stuff on it.
Open Road Song is a good one.
Open Road Song. There's tons of good songs on that record. So
great record.
Yeah, Danko Jones, Lover Call, Eve 6, Inside Out. Man, songs from the past that I love that everyone should check out. So go get it.
The Lover Call, baby. If you want to, another good song on that record, Play the Blues. If you want to know how to play the blues, get yourself a woman. Yeah. Danko's great. Just like one of the best, just fucking rock bands. I keep saying the F word. We're probably going to get banned from YouTube. But just one of the best rock bands out there. If you really just want great rock and roll music, true, honest rock and roll, like true to the heart, just to the core rock and roll, Danko Jones.
I'm a huge Thin Lizzy fan. And Danko has always filled in my Canadian void of having like a Thin Lizzy type band. I think they take the reins for me anyways. They're just a great band. Love them. I think they're doing a bunch of shows too in Canada. So if you're listening to us and you're in Canada, they're hitting the clubs, I think, before they head over to Europe in the new year. I can't remember who's playing with them. I believe maybe the Anti-Queens are opening.
Oh yeah,
I could be
love
wrong.
The Anti-Queens.
Yeah, the Anti-Queens. I think they're opening for the bunch of club dates. But check them out. Buy tickets. Go check out all that stuff.
Right on. Those are our tracks of the week, and that is it for the Rock Squad podcast. You can follow me at The Walking Nick on Twitter and Instagram. Where can the folks follow you, Dave?
You can follow me Instagram, Facebook, Red Coast Records. Also, right now, Fools Union, our band, is on TikTok. We're ticking and talking all day long.
You're loving that. I've seen all the stuff you've been doing. You've been really enjoying those different filters on TikTok.
I've been playing with everything, man. It's a new concept for us. Our followers are on the way up. Our plays are our views and whatever are on the way up. Everything's on the up and up. So yeah, I've been trying. You know, we got a record or a single coming out, so we've been pushing a lot of the social media. But yeah, so you can follow us on TikTok for Fools Union, foolsunion.com for music and merchandise, and find out what we're up to. If you want to contact the band, that's where you're going to do it. Also, anywhere you get music. Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you stream, our band is Fools Union. Enjoy. Click like, subscribe to this video. Are we done? Are we done another episode?
Yeah, that's it. Check us out right now on the YouTube channel. There's rock album reviews, rock albums ranked, lots of different stuff, different episodes of the podcast. So you can check us out there. But until next time, we'll see you guys on another edition of the Rock Squad podcast. In the meantime, rock on, Dave.
Rock on, Nick.